guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I figured I would show you guys how I like to clean and wash my beauty sponges and also my brushes. So what I do over time is I just put them into a big plastic bin. It's a nice deep bin that I just work off of, and I like to use my sink. Again, I have a deep sink, so I find it's just a little easier to have everything in there, and I just wash it in there. So my favorite soap, detergent to use is the Dawn detergent. This one just happens to be like the off-brand. It's the Food Lions version. It's just a grocery store nearby. I like to have obviously some separately in there in that little container. And what I do is I prefer to use that detergent just because I feel like it really gets all of the dirt and the oil and the creams and the foundations and all of that out of there. I've used your normal kind of, you know, the one that actually comes with like a true beauty blender, the pink one, the pink sponge, and it left almost like a waxy kind of finish to it, I found. And I mean, it did a really good job taking all the gunk out of my brushes and my sponges. I just found that it wasn't very soft anymore. And anyway, so I just stick with this. It's something I already have around the house. Most people do. So whatever you use to clean your dishes and get all that grease and gunk out of your dishes is going to be safe for this. And it is typically fairly softening. It's not anything that's going to strip too much to the point that it's not going to make anything feel good. So with my sponges, I like to kind of soak them up with water, and then I put a tiny bit of the detergent on there and make sure that I just kind of squeeze the sponge a little bit until I see that the water runs a little bit more clear and all the products are coming out. So the one in my left hand, the orange sponge, is the one that I use the most for foundations. The other one is for a couple different things. But so then I set it off to the side and I sped it up because sponges are fairly easy to show. All right, and so with this clip, I just like to use a paper plate, and I put a little bit of that detergent um, on the plate, and I find it's just easier to go from there instead of back and forth, trying to pump a little bit onto on the brushes. So on the plate, what I'll do is just get some of the detergent onto the brushes, and I like to get, like, if it's smaller eye brushes, I'll get a few brushes in my hand. And so right now I have 4 brushes, and that's typically what I do, 3 to 5 brushes in my hands. I like to go in circular motions, and then it's kind of self-explanatory, but you want to just make sure that everything does rinse out clear and that the brushes are able to separate pretty easily. You also want to make sure that the actual handles of the brushes are nice and clean as well. It's easy to get product on those. So just make sure everything's rinsed real nicely, and then we set it off to the side to dry. I like to just get some of that moisture out, so by pressing on the actual bristles. And then I get another few handfuls of brushes, and same thing, just pick up a little bit and go in circular motion. So we'll speed this up for you in a second. So what I do is sometimes I'll be cleaning all the brushes and I find that there's one brush that looks like I didn't get all of the product out, so I'll just take that one out separately and wash it again. And you'll want to do this a few times, so if you have any brushes that are looking like the product's not coming out as easily, just go through it and wash it again a couple more times, and that should help. All right, now that you've seen me wash my brushes, I like to set everything off to the side. This is just a drying mat that I use um, for my actual dishes, since I do use the kitchen sink to wash my brushes and blenders. And then I get a couple towels and just set it over top of the brushes. If you notice, the smaller brushes are over to the left, the bigger ones are over to the right. I just like to spread them out. The bigger ones obviously take up more space, so I separate it out. And as you see, I put a couple towels over top, and I do like to press down on the towels just to help get some of that moisture out. And then I move the sponges over to the side, and that's about it. I let it sit for probably a couple hours, and then I put everything away and get it nice and cleaned and tidied up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a thing or two, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on brush cleaners. But thank you so much for watching.